here where we try to extend human lives in an Cellulim economy. Hi everyone! At Cellulim we recently decided to sell NMN, also known as Nicotinamide mononucleotide. One of the first questions that pops up is, how does NMN taste like? Little did we know that we were going to open Pandora's box. What is NMN? It's a molecule that helps cells with many biological processes. You can look at NMN as a battery, if you will. This battery gives that charge to other molecules that use this charge to, for example, activate an enzyme to physically do something. An example of this could be the correction of a DNA copy mistake. One could wonder why NMN is an important molecule. Well, research has shown that when you age, the amount of these batteries decline inside your cell. And that's bad, especially if you're getting older. A lack of these batteries in general has huge implications, and you can imagine such a cell that needs energy but has no energy to, for example, correct those DNA mistakes. That would mean mutations, which again means cancer, and that's a huge problem. So it does make total sense to stop the decline of these batteries in your cell, especially since all clinical trials are showing it's completely safe to take NMN supplements. So, with taking NMN, in theory, you could stop the decline of these batteries as you age. For Cellulim, it makes total sense to start investing in this molecule and adding it to our portfolio. It perfectly aligns with our mission and vision, which is extend healthy human lives. We first looked at pharmaceutical companies focused on research, which in general sell pure NMN. It doesn't make sense for them to cheat because they are selling to researchers, and that's exactly what researchers do. Research. But when we tried to order large amounts of NMN, it was just not possible. They told us we don't sell in bulk and we normally only sell to research teams. We said, alright, then we have to look somewhere else, which brought us at a few manufacturers in the US that claim to sell pure NMN. After some research and almost signing a contract, we did a little bit more of digging and found out that the NMN they were selling was just imported from China. There goes our dream to put the label "Made in the US" on our bottles. So we cancelled our contract and started looking in China for a manufacturer. Unknowingly, we were just entering a maze of suppliers. So we thought, let's buy the cheapest NMN on the Chinese market. Well, against our better judgment, we ordered 1 kilo for $100. But keep in mind that $100 is even cheaper than the raw material that is used to make NMN, which is of course impossible. Anyway, we just had to know. After receiving the NMN, we did some purity testing with SGS, which is a well-established global laboratory. After a few days, we got the results back, and as we expected, the content was not NMN, but pure niacin, which is a vitamin B, and one of the side effects of niacin is flush. It's just incredible to hear sellers saying NMN is the same as vitamin B. But what can you do except for destroying it or using the vitamin B in this video? And actually, here we have it. This is the fake NMN we bought from this Chinese manufacturer. Recent study from Chromadex financed by True Niagen, which is a supplement brand selling the same but different. The same molecule but a different pathway, so actually it's just the same. It's good that True Niagen does this research, but why do they have to do it with Chromadex, which is a CEO buddy of True Niagen, which makes it so not independent research? So I think it's just evil. But according to that research, 22 brands were tested, and 14 of them had almost no NMN inside. and some of them even 0%. This data is definitely questionable, but I do think that brands that have multiple layers of sellers and resellers have a very hard time to produce consistent, qualitative, pure NMN. Can you imagine that NMN is produced in China by a real manufacturer and then resold to another manufacturer, which is actually just a reseller, and then it goes to another manufacturer, which is actually just someone who bottles the NMN. Then the brands get it, and then it gets sold to the consumer. You can imagine that a lot of things can go wrong then. So we had to start all over, and this time looking for a real manufacturer from China and not a reseller. To accomplish this, we contacted 25 different manufacturers, all claiming to sell 99% pure NMN. After a while, we finally found one that won our confidence because they had the right certificates, they were professional, and they had a factory. From the manufacturer, we asked to test the NMN before they would send it to us, which they did. But of course, it's not a guarantee for anything. Once we received the NMN, we still had to guarantee the purity, so we had to request SGS labs again to take a purity test. And SGS confirmed that it was finally pure NMN. So let's taste the NMN. Here we have pure NMN from Cellulim, and here we have fake NMN from some kind of reseller. Well, the first thing you will notice is that the substance is white, completely white. If you take the fake NMN, the thing you will notice is that it's also white. And if you take a closer look, you will definitely see a difference. This one will look more like crystals, more like salt, even though they're both powder. And here you will have the feeling that you're looking at a flower. And if you try to smell them, you will definitely not smell any difference. So there are 3 ways to establish flavor of NMN. The first one is mouthfeel, also known as chemical mouth feelings, which are irritations perceived by our trigeminal nerve. Examples of trigeminal perception are the burn sensation of chili peppers or carbonated water. The second one is just taste. We've got sweet like sugar, acidic like lemon juice, bitter like coffee, salty like table salt. And there's a 5th one, I didn't even know it existed, but it's umami. It tastes like tomatoes and cheese and mushrooms. It's there. And finally odor, which we already did. And all these 3 together are called flavor. Let us start with mouthfeel, and I would like to use a mouthfeel wheel. So for the people who want to check if their NMN is pure, it's easier to use a mouthfeel wheel. And I'm going to use only the first 2 inner rings, and I'm also going to pick out only the most distinct categories. The first category is product texture in the mouth. There's definitely a tacky, sticky sensation in the mouth. The second one is mouth effect. It definitely dries a little bit inside of the mouth. The third one is mouth coating. It has a fatty mouth coat, like a sensation coming from a milky product. The fourth one is intermediate after effect. In the after effect, you feel the fatty mouth coating. It also has a metallic effect and a mild tingle. And the last one is throat effect after swallowing. I do feel a little of throat irritation, but it's a tiny bit. And then you have the taste. If you take a bit, you can immediately feel the sweetness on your tongue. There's also some bitterness after a while, and I do have the feeling that there's something acidic inside. It's time now to take the fake NMN. When you have them next to each other, you immediately taste a big difference. Let's take the mouthfeel wheel again. There's definitely with the fake NMN no sticky sensation in the mouth. It definitely doesn't dry inside the mouth, and I believe the most important one, there's no sensation coming from a milky product like with the pure NMN. And there's also no throat irritation. It's just a complete different product. And if we look at the taste of it, and I definitely don't taste the bitterness, I do taste a saltiness, I do taste some kind of sweetness, and there's also a little bit something acidic inside. There we have it. For the flavor of a real NMN, I would say it's more like a bitter, sweet, a little bit acidic, also a little bit metallic, fatty coat. And if I would compare it with the fake product, I would say that the fatty coat would definitely make the biggest difference. Alright, it took a while, but we finally know how NMN tastes like. Alright everyone, keep extending healthy lives in an NLM economy. See you next time.